Alright, we had another game tonight as part of our summer campaign. This is an objective scenario. My Bretonnians versus a Chaos Dwarf army. If you look at the ruins in the middle of the table, that's being treated as a building, and whoever has a unit in that building at the end of the game gets an extra 200 victory points. So it's a little bit challenging for me because most of my units are mounted, and mounted units cannot enter into a building. So that leaves me my men-at-arms or my archers as the only options I really have available for that. But I approach the game thinking that 200 victory points isn't enough to justify worrying about too much. So I'm just going to play it like a standard game, and I'll snag those points if I can when the time comes. So if you look at the table, on the right-hand side we have some woods. The lower right we have what looks like ruins. We're treating that as a building. In the middle, of course, there's the important ruins. Just up from that is some impassable terrain. To the left is a hill, and lower than that is an ugly piece of scenery that we're treating as some woods. So on my far right, he places a bolt thrower that has a good field of vision across the board. Then he groups his troops in the middle of the board. He's got 3 blocks of Chaos Dwarf warriors, and each of those has some kind of character in it. The one on the right has some kind of fighty character. In the middle there's a mage being represented by a slayer, and on the left there is a fighty character that's mounted, and I don't know what it's mounted on. It's being proxied by a baggage train. So anyway, behind them there's a unit of what looks like dwarf miners. Those are warriors with great weapons. And in the middle, I don't know what those things are called. He told me and I forgot. I called them the ninja ogres because that's what they look like. So anyway, on the left you can see partially on the hill is a bolt thrower, and then there's the unit of the game. I'll zoom in on him. That is a Chaos Dwarf Lord mounted on some kind of flying Taurus, whatever the official name is. I'm going to call him the Flying Cow. That's that model right there is infamous in our little gaming circle. I love it. So, facing him, I have my Pegasus Knights on the right. My plan for them is to charge the bolt thrower. Got small unit of Knights Errant, big unit of Knights Errant with my BSB. Their job is to swing around that impassable terrain and come in from the side. Got some archers. Then I have my trebuchet, my men-at-arms. In the woods I have some skirmishing bowmen. Another unit of Pegasus Knights. Their job is to take care of that bolt thrower. Then I've got a big block of Knights of the Realm with a damsel. My general's right there. His job is to take care of his general, or at least take care of the Flying Cow, which should give me enough combat res to take care of the general. Got my Grail Knights and then some Fast Cav. So I give him the option for turn 1. He, looking at this board, he decides to go ahead and take it, and he moves up. Really not a whole lot to see there. He's shooting at me with his bolt throwers. They're missing, not doing a whole lot of harm. You can see he's using his great weapon warriors and his ninja ogres to protect his flanks, and other than that, he's just marching forward. Now, he's talking the whole time with his general on that Flying Cow because he knows he's a large target and he's vulnerable to my general, and so we're trying to keep just out of range of each other. So that's the reason he's positioned himself there. So, Brett's turn 1. You can see I fly my Pegasus Knights on the right as far forward as they can to get a charge next turn. I move my BSB unit up as far as I can. And I'm not sure what I was thinking with the smaller Knights Errant unit. I wanted to keep them open so they might be able to go through the building in the impassable terrain, but when I looked at it, I wasn't sure they'd be able to fit anyway. So anyway, I was just following behind it. Took my men-at-arms up. Got the other Pegasus Knight unit up to charge the bolt thrower on the hill that he had moved up. I'm holding back with my big blocks because I'm afraid of what his general might do to me. I'm kind of hoping that he'll take his general and charge my Fast Cav. I would flee. he would be stranded and I get a free charge by my general. So there's a little something I'm hoping, and yeah, he didn't fall for it. So Chaos Dwarfs turn 2. You can see from this lovely picture he's just really moving up a little bit. That red token means that his mage got the Flaming Sword of Ruin and is now somewhat fighty. His bolt thrower on the hill shot at my general, and just everything went right for him. He hit me, he hit my general instead of the Pegasus. I missed my ward save, and he did 2 wounds. So my general's not quite as secure as I would like him to be if I'm about to get into a combat. So that wasn't very good. We go to my turn 2. You can see in the upper right that my Pegasus Knights take out his bolt thrower. My Knights Errant are sweeping around that impassable terrain. Really not worried about his great weaponed warriors up there. With even that big block, I think I can take care of them. Those models at the very, very top of the board are the ones being removed from the game, so don't let them confuse you. So on this side of the board, it's kind of weird. I moved my men-at-arms up a little bit because I want them to be able to charge if I need them. But again, for the most part, I'm hanging back a little bit. My Pegasus Knights charges bolt thrower. It never occurred to me that he might flee, and I kind of hoped I'd get in combat, win it, and be able to fly out of the reach of his general. But as it is now, his general can charge me if he chooses to, and those ninja ogres are going to be able to charge me. And then I'm thinking that actually might be good because I could flee from the ninjas, and that would mean the general would easily kill my Pegasus Knight unit, but he would be right out in the open, and I could do a dual charge with my Grail Knights and my general into his general. So I'm actually kind of okay with how that turned out. The problem with that thinking is he didn't charge with his ninja ogres. He charged with his general, which was brilliant, because what that's going to do is going to make my Pegasus Knights flee right in the middle of his troops, get killed, and his general is going to be able to flee out of the charge reach of my general. So kudos to my opponent. He totally outplayed me with that. If you look at that green die on the hill, that represents where his, what I'm calling the ninja ogres, that's where they really are. They just wouldn't stay there because of the way the hill was shaped. But they're not in combat. They're just there behind me, and his flying cow and General Lord are about to do some serious damage on me. So issues a challenge. I accept with my champion. He kills my champion. He outnumbers me, causes terror, so it's an auto break. So that's what's going on up there. I'll get back to that in just a second. So the baggage train, that fighty character who's mounted on something, charged my skirmishing bowmen. And if you look at the very bottom of the screen, you can see they're down there. They ran like 11 or 12 inches, leaving his guy stranded. So that's kind of nice. It'll allow me to charge him, and he'll almost certainly flee, and I'll be able to charge the dwarfs behind him on my next turn. Now over here, what I said would happen happened. He declared a challenge. He killed my champion. I didn't have any attacks back. He outnumbers. He causes terror. I take my break test and I rolled snake eyes, and I'm just loving that. So now I know my general's going to get a charge in there and going to get an opportunity to get killing blow on his large target flying cow. So there we are at the end of Chaos Dwarf turn 3. We'll see what happens in the next segment.